What is the best outcome of a discussion? This is an issue that so many of my clients come up with. Klara, Adalena here, of Corporate Women on Fire. And as we are women on fire with a mission, with ideas, with clarity, with passion, what we notice is that it isn't always easy, right? You're sitting there with your date and he doesn't agree with you. He has a different opinion. Can be about, worldly matters, corona, politics, governments, can be anything like that. It can be about career moves, where should we go next? It could be about for many people, so challenging topic of kids. Do we want kids or not? When do we speak about kids? When do we address the topic? Do we wait until we're exclusive? Do we wait until we're so intertwined and connected and in love that we can't do without each other anymore? Risky to wait that long. What if he doesn't agree? But a lot of stress around that conversation comes actually from having a totally faulty idea about what the outcome of such a conversation should be. Because we all make the same mistake, right? We think once I raise the topic of kids, right? We're both career persons, me and him. When we start talking about kids, we need to have an outcome, a clear, definite outcome. Yes, we will have them. Yes, we will have them in 2 years. Yes, we're both ready to have them. Of course, we need to be a fit, but we're both ready to go for it. That creates an impossible situation, especially on a first date. You cannot have that kind of conversation on a first date. Doesn't matter what the topic is. If it would be about the house where you live in, or the city where you live in, right? You cannot have an agreement on what the two of you will be doing way too early. But the topic needs to be brought up. So for many that creates such a dilemma because they don't understand what a conversation actually is. So let me give you an example. Right now, Corona is around and governments are taking very extreme measures. Lockdowns, mouth masks, the whole thing. I have very strong opinions about it. And I have a passion about it. I feel like I am being treated so unfair. I feel, even just speaking about it, my emotions just flare up. And I don't only feel that I am being treated unfair, I feel that we as a people are being treated unfair. So it's a very passionate topic for me. And if somebody comes along and says, oh, like my friend did the weekend, we were going away for the weekend, and she was like, it is a serious illness. And then I just flare up and say, whoa. Now, what should the outcome be of a conversation like that, right? I am passionate and on fire, and she's like, whoa. What should it be? Many of us, we think we should come to an agreement. And that's when, the two of us can become at ease with the topic. I actually just experienced this, so this is hot from the needle, as we say in Holland. I don't know if it's an English expression. So this happened, right? We were sitting in the car and we hadn't seen each other in a few months, and the topic, of course, was raised. And whatever she said, I was like, so passionate. No, yes, but this is how it is. And it's no, not right. And she was kind of overwhelmed, right? Like, what is going on here? And kind of to subdue everything. And I kind of checked in with her, right? Is my passion okay with you? Is it too much? She was like, no, it's okay. But then actually, when nighttime came and we were sitting in our apartment for the weekend, another aspect of it came up, and I realized I went too far, and I kind of saw her, draw back, scared. And I could see it. And I asked, what is happening? And she said, for me it is so difficult that there are so many different opinions and views on this. And it came straight from her heart. And it was the first time I heard her heart. I had heard a lot of my own passion, but she had more being like do, right? But the moment she shared her heart, I could feel it. And I was like, I get that. That's actually very challenging for me too. And then we talked some more in a much more quiet way. And then she said, and another thing that's so challenging for me is I want to believe our governments. And when I don't, should I believe the conspiracy theorists? And it was like she had this idea of what a conspiracy theorist would be, but let's let that aside for the moment. It was like there was no in-between. It was totally left or totally right. And I understood that for her there was a serious dilemma. She had a lot of judgments on conspiracy theorists and she didn't want to be one. And she saw no other option between either believing the government or becoming a conspiracy theorist. And I could hear it was a real concern for her. And again, my heart just opened. And in that moment, I realized that for me, that too had been and is a serious concern. I see myself as a clear thinker, not somebody who chooses oversimplified solutions, which is what I would call a conspiracy theorist. One thing explains all. So for me too, that has been a dilemma. Like, if I don't trust the government, then what do I trust and how do I see it? And from this place of being touched and recognition, I started to share my story with the whole Corona situation and all the questions that had been coming up for me and how I struggled with them and how I sat up late through the night and early into the morning, Googling, YouTubing, reading books, needing to find out, to understand in a wider sense that made sense to me what is actually going on. And I realized that all these months I had never shared my story with it. I had shared my views, my opinions, my passion. I had not shared my story, my journey. And it was so intimate to tell about these hours late at night. And the questions and the fear and the concern and the finding of answers and the clarity and everything. And she started to share about her journey, which was so different, but it was just as much a journey of the heart and of needing to be true to herself. And by this time we were out in nature again for a short walk before we went to sleep. And the stars were very bright, shining above us, and Jupiter and Saturn were in the sky, and we both felt that. We have a lot of history sleeping under the stars in Crete years ago. And it was such a big moment, actually. And I got this timeless feeling of friendship, of two people journeying through life, each their own journey, and yet so connected. And we spoke a lot about this, and I realized that that was for me the outcome. Once we found this together, it was quiet in my heart. And sometimes I was still triggered, but there wasn't this urge, this need that I needed to share my fire and share my views. But it was like, we were so together in this. So what I'm getting at is we still didn't agree yet. We didn't even have a conversation of what is the truth. But by each sharing what really moves us from our heart, from our fire, Even if that is not knowing, insecurity, I'm just so challenged, everybody says something else. That is just as valid as I know how it is and this is the truth. It's all valid. And it all may be shared. And when we can do that, and when we can hear each other, something bigger happens. It's like the window opens and the stars shine in. And that is what wants to happen. So if the topic is kids, what is important, even on a first date, you will hear me saying this over and over, what is important is that you truly share what is important for you about having kids. That you don't hold back. I was fiery, remember? I was so passionate, on the point of being too intimidating. But it was my truth. And because of that, she could hear it. So share fully. And then be open to meet where the other is and invite the other to share fully in his way, his truth. And maybe, like my friend now, his truth is, I don't know. And then just ask a bit more, get to the truth behind I don't know. Is it the I don't know of I've never thought about it? Is it the I don't know of I love it, but I'm scared? Is it the I don't know of I really want it, but it feels too early to share that with you? It's all okay, right? But you want to hear what is really going on. And once you can hear that heart, then this soul shape, this energy form can form between you. Like for us, the form that we found was two friendship, two travelers, each on their own journey, and yet so connected. That was in our case. What will you find in your case? You don't know. But you will find a meaningful energy shape, soul shape between the two of you by not holding back, by really sharing your fire, your passion, your truth. And when you have a man who's ready to join in that and share his truth, even if it's so different, even if it's so the same, it can be even more scary. Then this Gestalt, as they call it in Germany, that's the original group of therapy, how do you say that? Type of therapy which spoke about this energy shape between people that wants to happen, that can form itself. And that is in itself a rewarding, opening, clarifying experience, bonding. We have a meaningful way of relating, of being together. We are each a part of this bigger energy shape, soul shape. And when that happens on a first date, that is amazing. And that creates a sense of meaning, of, I can't forget this woman. I want to see her again. We aren't completed yet, right? Way more than an agreement. Okay, checklist, we both want kids in 2 years. Okay, done. What's next? That doesn't create anything. That's not an experience. Everyone is looking for an experience nowadays. So I want you to shift your idea of the outcome of a conversation. The outcome is not an agreement. The outcome is the forming of a soul shape. The constellation, we can also call it the energy constellation, the constellation of the couple that you are. Can you feel it? If that constellates, something of that begins to constellate on a first date, there is something in the air of a couple. And what a good energy, a good step, a good momentum to actually go on the journey of becoming a couple. And of course there is the question, yeah, but what about the kids? What if I say yes and he says no? Well, of course you cannot leave that forever. But in a first date, and as I say, I really, really suggest bring the topic up on a first date. That is not your goal. Your goal is to be so clear so that he knows, and so that this couple constellation can start happening. And then, there is no space for play, right? He knows that for you it's so important. So if he really doesn't want it, he'll be clear about that too. Because you really claim respect this way. Nobody's going to fool with you when you're in your full passion and truth. Transparency. So this is a total shift. And it makes it that men love it when you raise the topic. The fear is always, but if I speak about it too early, I will scare him away. Yeah, what scares him away is like this forceful thing. This is where I am, where are you? It's so controlling. There is no space for any energy or couple energy that wants to constellate, right? It's pure control. That scares a man away. And it would scare you away too, right? It would certainly scare me away. It's not the topic that scares men away. It's your inability to speak about it in a meaningful way. And that's not your fault. It's just that you never heard about what is actually the aim of a conversation. When you want kids, actually having that is the biggest gift in the world. Don't let it slip through your fingers simply because nobody ever told you how to have a conversation. Or because you have heard it now, but you're just too scared to start practicing it. It takes a huge mindset to actually do these things differently. Because it's scary, right? It is scary. It is becoming visible. There was a lot of fire in the space between my friend and me. That was scary. But that's the life that I love, right? But it asks a strong mindset. I have an event coming up, and I have a challenge leading up to the event coming up. And I really, really want to invite you to be there. In the challenge, we start working on breaking through old beliefs, breaking through beliefs about, but I can bring up the topic of kids, breaking through any other topic that you have, whether it's love or dating or work or sports, claiming back that fire in yourself, that unstoppable energy. And in the event, we go so much deeper into that. And you will really feel that you are becoming unstoppable. I can create the life that I want, and so can you. We can all, with sisters, with focus, with energy. And of course, I have this whole program where I guide women to find the love of their lives. My most recent successful client, you wouldn't believe it, found her man within 4 days of going on the dating app. But the event and the challenge are great ways to start. If you're still on the fence, do I want to work with Klara or not? Am I ready for this? Maybe you should just do it. But if you feel that no, something else is needed, check out the challenge, check out the event, and all the information is down here. Thank you, and have amazing conversations. And allow your fire, trust your fire. Aloha.